Hari Om Yogis. Today we have an interesting parable. We can call it the parable of the garden. But before we begin, let's start as usual with a moment of silence, with our back straight, with our eyes closed, mouth closed, body still. And let's have a moment of silence and stillness until we let you know. Hari Om. Very well, so let's get started. The parable of the garden. And by the way, before we start, there is a topic similar to this, I think in one of my past videos, called Cultivating the Garden. If you haven't seen it, you can go back in the videos and see it. It will have a lot of interesting points. Some may be similar, but today we probably are going to cover other things that are not covered on that video. So feel free to enjoy this one, but if you want a little more, feel free to go to that other video called Cultivating the Garden. I believe it's available in both English and in Spanish. So the parable of the garden. Imagine now a garden and a very disciplined gardener. And in this garden, every day, the same amount of water, or every certain amount of days, the same amount of water is given to the, or sprayed throughout the garden evenly. Every day or every few days, this gardener, very disciplined in his routine, sprays the whole garden with the same amount of water every day or every few days. He also does this because he's a very disciplined gardener at the same time. So if he chose, for example, at noon always, either every day or every few days, this certain amount of water is sprayed throughout the whole garden. So same amount of water, same time. And this is an expert gardener, so he can manage this garden, the amount of light and darkness. So again, he being very disciplined, every day, same amount of darkness, same amount of light. The soil, more or less, he's always checking that the humidity of the soil and the moisture stays within a certain range. So he's very precise. So light, darkness, water, the timing, and even the temperature. Again, this is an expert gardener. He keeps the temperature always within a certain range, very, very even. So, what will happen in this garden? Obviously, the plants, the flowers, the fruits, the herbs, even the insects, if there are any, or the animals, if there are any, that will thrive in this garden will be the kind to which find this particular environment conducive. Only certain amount of plants, animals, insects, fruits, flowers will be able to grow in that particular environment with that particular amount of light and darkness, with that particular temperature, with that level of moisture in the soil, and with that quantity of water. Other plants, other herbs, other fruits, other animals or insects that need different conditions, of course, will never grow in that garden. And so this is the essence of the parable. Now, if this gardener likes, enjoys, needs these fruits, these flowers, these herbs, this particular type of ecosystem that he has created, she has created, then the task of the gardener is simply to maintain that those the same level of water, the same timing. That is the discipline. He just has to maintain to keep reaping those fruits, to keep the environment in such a way that the insects that are living there keep, having that environment that they enjoy and that they thrive in, that the flowers that are growing there will keep blooming. That will be his task. He wants the garden, he likes it as it is. That is the job of a gardener, just keeping those same parameters, the same amount of light, of darkness, the same things we're going to keep growing. Nothing else. But suppose now that this gardener sees the need, or simply just doesn't like what his garden is producing. Maybe certain insects and all kinds of pests are coming up that he doesn't want, or certain kinds of plants and fruits and weeds that he doesn't particularly have any use for are starting to thrive in this garden. And he wants other kinds of plants, other kinds of fruits, other kinds of herbs that are not currently growing in his garden. Then this gardener now needs, first, he needs to know what are the fruits, what are the flowers, what are the herbs that I want to grow in my garden. Once he knows this, then what are the conditions? What is the humidity of the soil required by these particular flowers or fruits or weeds or herbs that I want to grow? How much light do they need? How much darkness? What about the temperature? So, as you can see, we can now bring this to ourselves. Think about our own life. Both the life within us and the life around us as this kind of garden. What are the kind of events that just keeps happening? What are the kind of quote unquote rocks that we keep stumbling upon? What are the kind of situations that somehow we seem to keep attracting? What are the kind of qualities that we feel we are feeding? What kind of qualities are growing in us? Qualities like patience, qualities like honesty, qualities like discipline, qualities like perception, qualities like understanding, or qualities like laziness, like anger, like jealousy. So, what are the things, the qualities, the events, the circumstances that we keep observing in this garden of our lives? If we like what we are seeing, what we are reaping, then it's our job as gardeners to go on maintaining the same amount of light and darkness, the same temperature, the same moisture in the soil, the same amount of water, the same kind of environments, the same kind of people that we hang out with, visit, the same type of activities that we usually do, keep the same way of thinking, of feeling, because we like what we are getting. So why mess with perfection, like they say? Why mess it up? However, if we see, we notice that what those things, those qualities, those circumstances that are manifesting in this garden of our life, these kind of people that we keep attracting, these kind of circumstances, and we are not particularly enjoying it. Or even if we are enjoying it, we see that there is a need for change, then we need to start tweaking certain things. Maybe tweaking the way we dress, maybe tweaking the way we speak, maybe tweaking the way we, these patterns of thinking, maybe tweaking the places we visit, how much time we spend with certain kind of people and how much time we spend away from certain kind of people and places. How much time we spend talking how much time we spend in silence, how much time we spend with others, doing things, serving others, accompanying others, and how much time we spend with ourselves. So when we start tweaking these things, if we so wish to see different fruits, naturally different things will start to happen. We start to attract different kinds of circumstances, different experiences will now be available. Because only a certain kind of experience can happen when the conditions of this garden are in a certain way. So if the light and darkness, the moisture, the amount of water, the temperature, the quality of the soil is more or less within a certain range, then naturally only certain fruits, only certain plants will grow there. Same thing with our life. Only certain amount of experiences and circumstances and only certain kind of people we're going to keep attracting, and or certain kind of people we're going to keep repelling, pushing away. And it happens sometimes where a plant, a fruit, a herb that can be very beneficial in the garden or that has a lot of uses that the gardener wants starts to grow. But the conditions in the garden are not favorable, are not optimal for this particular plant. So it grows only to a certain extent. Maybe it grows sickly, maybe it grows to a certain extent and then dies. Same thing with our life. We feel, oh man, we almost getting this certain qualities, this kind of experiences. Only to a certain level they can go, and then boom, you see, oh again. Why? The conditions are not optimal for certain kinds of experiences to happen, for certain kind of qualities to fully bloom. So it is not enough to just have the seeds. It is not enough to just know a few good gardeners. You have to know what are the conditions that are optimal for this particular kind of seed, for this particular kind of plant that I want to grow. Otherwise, it may never grow, may never bloom, or it may start to grow, bloom, and then only get to a certain level and dies. Maybe there's too much water, maybe there's not enough water, maybe the temperature required is different. So I think we're going to leave it at that. There's way more things that we can extract from this parable, but I don't want to make it too long, and I want to leave some of it for us to think on our own. Feel free to put on the comments any other ideas, any other thoughts that occur to you with this parable. I always enjoy reading some of the comments. So, okay, let's finish with a moment of silence and stillness. Very well. Hariom yogis. I'll see you guys either in one of the centers or in one of the retreats out there. I'm getting ready now for the 4th of July retreat coming up. Hopefully, I'll see some of you there. I believe I'm going to be at the Woodside Queen Center for this 4th of July retreat coming up. Yeah, see you there, hopefully. Hariom.